And we are live. 2 weeks in a row, 1 minute early. Last week we were 1 minute late. This week we're going to be 1 minute early. Plus, the anticipation was killing me. I just had to hit the go live button. How are you guys doing? I'm glad to see everybody on here. Hello, Floodland. Hello, Mark. By the way, Mark, I'm going to answer your question first in just a minute. I just want to explain to everybody watching real quick. That little icon you see up in the corner that says powered by StreamYard, I'm going to try something a little different in this live stream. And basically what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to highlight one of your comments from the chat so everybody who's watching knows which question I'm answering at the moment. So that way we can just stay on the same page easier. It'll make it better for people who watch the replay as well. So I think this will be a cool little addition to the stream. So Mark, I'm going to answer your question first, and this will be a good example of that. See how we got that on the screen now? I'm sure this is nothing new. You guys have probably seen this before, but I think it's pretty cool. So Mark wants to know about 55 plus communities in Florida, specifically Kings Point. Now, I can't tell you anything about Kings Point, Mark, because I don't know the community. But what I will tell you is that when you are buying a 55 and older community, the number one thing you want to watch out for in communities like that is deferred maintenance, upcoming special assessments, and basically a possible increase in the maintenance fee. Because what happens with these 55 and older communities is they're sold at a pretty low price because they're 55 and older. And so basically, a lot of people living there are living on a fixed income. And with a lot of them, unfortunately, you'll see a lot of deferred maintenance and things that really need to be done. So I would watch out for that and just kind of vet the building as well as you possibly can. But I think that it's going to be a good thing for you to have your sister purchase it, and then you both can use it because only one person needs to be 55 and older. So I think if you want to go, halvesies with your sister or something, that could be a pretty good way to go. Now I got to figure out how to get your comment off of there. Oh, there we go. Hello, Williams, Kevin. Hello. Hello, John. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Jeannie. Thank you guys all for coming. It's nice to see everybody on here. This stream is probably going to be like the last one of the year. It's a few days before Christmas. I want to just keep it casual, do a little Q&A session with you guys, answer any questions that are looming that you might have. And, maybe in the future, I was thinking maybe doing like a couple of these a month like this. I know this time it's like 2 weeks in a row, but maybe in the future we'll do like every other week or something like that. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. So let's see what Misadventures has to say here. I bought a house in Illinois in June. I need to wait 2 years to sell and move to Florida, not to pay capital gains, correct? Yes. Well, if you sold in the first year, then you're definitely going to get hit with the highest capital gains taxes. You would still pay capital gains taxes afterwards, but not at as high of a rate. So, the earlier you sell it, then the more in capital gains you're going to pay, Misadventures. Hope that gets cleared up for you. Merry Christmas to you too, George. Thank you so much. All right, let's take the next one from Shay TV. Is there a lot of jobs in Sarasota area that require a business management degree? You know what, Shay? I get all kinds of questions all the time about jobs, and I always give everybody the same answer. I'm just not the best person to, speak on that topic because I have no clue what's happening in the job market. I don't have a job. I haven't had one in 13 years. So I'm just not the best person to ask that question to. But I would imagine there are, but that's just a vague guess. So I'm sorry I couldn't answer that a little bit better for you, but I'm just being honest with you here. That's a good question, Grizzly. Is Sunrise a bad area to buy property in? I don't think so. I think Sunrise is a pretty nice area. And depends on what your use case might be for that property. If you're going to live there, are you planning on using it for investment? Those might be some things you want to look into. But that area, they have the BB&T Center close by. So there's always a lot of cool events happening nearby. They also have Sawgrass Mall and some big car dealerships in the area. So that area, has a pretty good local economy. There's a lot of local businesses, a lot of stores and restaurants. So I think the area is a good place to buy it. Man, you guys are sending them in faster than I can answer them. Let me see where we're at here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take John's question here. I bought a home for $210,000 in Bartow, originally listed for 275. Should I buy and hold or sell now for 325? I want new construction. Well, if you can make that much, in such a short period of time, John, I think you should definitely take the profit now, especially because with the interest rates coming up, they're going to be rising in 2022 supposedly, and that could possibly make the price of homes go down. So I would say cash out now while you can, especially the market's still hot. I would say take the money and go for that new construction, man. Okay. That's a good one, Mika. Yeah, a lot of people here speak Spanish. I definitely don't. And somebody asked it on the last stream. So you definitely don't need to speak Spanish to get by here in Miami. So that's just something to know. You could definitely live here without it. But that being said, it will definitely help if you do. So Merry Christmas to you too. Carl, I saw your question here, but I'm not sure exactly what you meant about where I see Florida in a few years. So clarify that, and maybe I can answer it a little bit later on. Timeless wants to know if it's better to buy a condo or a house. Well, luckily for you, Timeless, I have done several videos on this topic in the past. And instead of me trying to give a long winded answer to that here on the stream, I would recommend you just go and check out those videos because it's going to be having a way more detailed answer for you than I could just spit out right here. So I say go back in the channel and check out those videos. Oh no, Shay, I didn't say I wasn't working for 13 years. I just haven't had a job in 13 years. That's the big difference. I definitely still work. Now, this is an interesting one from Bob. Aside from Belvedere, what Midwest city would you live in if you couldn't live anywhere else? That is an interesting question. Um, you know, I have to like give that one some thought, Bob. I'm not sure if I can even answer that one on the spot. Um, since I grew up in that area, I'm kind of pretty familiar with a lot of that general area and a lot of the small towns there. So I probably wouldn't choose any of those places just because I already know them. And I would probably want to choose somewhere new. But I would have to actually explore more of the Midwest to probably nail that one down. I know this isn't a question, but I appreciate the congratulations, Charian. Thank you so much. I think it's a good investment as well. That video didn't perform as well as I would hope, but I think it still has a chance with the YouTube algorithm. I think the video is good, and a lot of people that watched it said the same. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, George, Sawgrass is a good mall. I mean, there's a million stores there. People come from all over the world actually to shop there. Now, this is a good question, Timeless. Do I think it's a good idea to buy a condo on a street that floods during rainstorms? I would say it highly depends on is the unit, a ground floor unit or not? Because if it is, then the obvious answer I think would be no. But I think that if you're going to buy something above the second floor or higher, then it should be okay because the flooding on the street really never rises more than a few inches. The most I've ever seen it is like a couple feet actually years ago. But yeah, that's also temporary. Whenever it rises that much, it's usually only for like an hour or two. It's not sustained unless maybe we got a crazy hurricane or something like that that keeps the storm surge up and the water levels high. But even then, if you're on a higher floor, you should be all right. Congratulations, Bob. I don't know if that was supposed to be a joke about Lana Del Rey or not. Yeah, Jeannie, I saw that video too from Reventure Consulting. You know, it's funny you mention him because I've been watching his videos as well because a lot of people, I'm going to put your comment up here so people can see what you said. A lot of people from my audience seem to watch him, which I see in my YouTube analytics, and it's even starting to kind of influence maybe the direction I'm going to start taking future content. And I like his videos, and I'm even going to reach out to him to see if maybe he wants to join me on one of these streams here next year. So hopefully he does. That'd be pretty cool. He seems like a really smart guy, and I would love to have a talk about real estate with him right here on the live stream with you guys. So let me know what you think about that. I would love to have Reventure Consulting on the show. How is Miami treating me? I say it's been treating me pretty good, Jake. You know, it definitely is not the perfect place to live, but it has so many good things about it. And I just try to enjoy those good things as much as I can, just like I would if I were to live anywhere else. But I can't say that I don't love living on the beach. And, you know, where I live, I don't have to drive around a lot. So that's great. I don't have to deal with too much of the Miami traffic, which is a huge relief. So I would say overall, it's treating me pretty good. I can't complain. Now, this is a good question, Timeless. I would say, you know, it really doesn't matter if you wait for interest rates to fall or not, because it's kind of a balancing act. When you're looking at a real estate purchase, if the interest rates go up, usually the price of the home will come down. So it all could even out. The biggest difference is how much interest you're going to end up paying the bank over time, because with these low mortgage rates, you're going to just save a ton of money on interest, and it also increases like how much house you can afford. Like if you can afford a $400,000 house right now, when interest rates go up, maybe you can only afford a $330,000 house, for example. So I wouldn't say it necessarily matters when you buy. I think it just more matters on you know, if you're looking for a property that's going to be a good investment from a numbers standpoint. That's how I always look at it. You know, I always run the numbers to see if they work. And that's the most important thing is if it works at the current rate that you can get, then by all means, it's a good deal. I know I'm falling behind here, guys. I'm trying to do my best to keep up with you. Okay, so thanks for clarifying, Carl. Where do I see Florida's freedom in 2022? Well, I would hope that it's still going to be the same place that it is right now, because I know a lot of people moved here for the freedom we have in Florida, as well as the people that live here now already. You know, love the freedom that we have. So I hope that we get to keep it. You know, European immigrants have always been coming here since I've lived here and way before that. So that's nothing new. And you know, let them come as long as we have room, as long as they can contribute to living here and the economy. Why not? Yes, I think so too, Jeannie. I would love to do that actually. So I'm going to send him an email and see if he's interested in doing that. So we'll see. Wish me luck. Maybe we'll get him on the show. Okay, that's an easy one. I'll take that one. So the top real estate websites, you know, the basic ones are Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. You got Trulia, and then you know they all pretty much show the same listing. So you're really not going to get a ton of different information. And by the way, I will give you a little tip on this. Something I just read from our real estate news is apparently these websites that show you the crime data right now, like Trulia and I think realtor.com does as well. They show like the crime maps of the neighborhoods. Well, they're not going to be showing that anymore. They're saying that it's not accurate information. And they're also saying that that information is used sometimes to like red line neighborhoods, which is basically like, saying somewhere's not safe because a certain race of people live there. So that's what I just heard recently. So unfortunately, those websites are going to be getting rid of that feature. But honestly, I always tell everybody, anyways, it's not really that accurate anyhow. If you're going to go, look for a new neighborhood to live in, you need to kind of check it out for yourself and kind of ignore what the crime map says, because if you're not there, you really don't know. So, in that sense, it could be inaccurate. But those are the websites. Good point to Bob, also, Brian. That's a good point. Yeah, so Jake, I don't actually own the condo that I live in, so I don't pay taxes right now. But for a unit like I have that I live in, it would be somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000 a year, roughly, for taxes on a place like this, to give you an estimate. Yeah, we are lucky, Jeannie. We're definitely lucky. Now, Jennifer, I see your question here. I honestly don't have any 55 and older communities to recommend down here, mainly because I don't really work with them very often. In fact, I think in my whole real estate career, I went and looked at a couple of them, and we didn't even know they were 55 and older communities, because down here in South Florida, we don't even have that many of them to begin with. And also, a lot of my clients have been on the younger side, or if they're older, they're usually like older, wealthier people looking for like a second home or a retirement property, and they're usually not looking in the 55 plus communities. So unfortunately, I don't have any to recommend to you. But you guys know me. I just give you my honest answer, and there it is. Thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate that. I will do my best to give you all the answers that I can. No doubt. This is a good one, Jose. Let's see if I can nail this one down. Which is a better long-term affordable vacation home, a three-bed condo or house in Southeast Florida in the range of 250 to 300K? Well, I would say, first of all, good luck finding a house down here now in that price range, because those are pretty much disappearing. If you can find one, it probably needs to be completely renovated. So, and also, if you're looking at using it as a vacation home, there's a couple things to consider. If it's a house, who's going to maintain the property, day in and day out, with a bunch of people coming in and needing to be cleaned and maintenance and things like that. You're not in an HOA community probably, and who's going to be overseeing that property? That'd be my biggest concern. And with a condo, you have a little bit more security in that sense, but also you have the flip side of, you have the HOA dues, which is going to eat into your monthly profit, as well as you have to make sure that it's okay with the HOA in order to even do vacation rentals to begin with. So there's definitely pros and cons to both. And I would say that you should be looking not necessarily at the property type, but more at the location and if it's desirable for people to come and stay there for a vacation rental. And obviously, if you're looking at a building, make sure they allow that, because that's the most important thing when you're buying in a condo, is making sure the rules allow it. Because if they don't, you're going to get hit with some big fines, and that could be bad for you. I like this question. This is a different one. Um, I think that anywhere in Miami Beach could use a good Mexican restaurant. We do have a handful of them right now, but really not that many. We have a lot of Italian restaurants here, probably too many of them. We also have too many restaurants that serve just regular bar type food and burgers and things like that. So I think there's a little bit of a gap with the Mexican food. So if you want to come here to start a Mexican restaurant, as long as it's authentic and good, maybe you can start with like a food truck, do that first, and then, build up to having a restaurant unless you just wanted to jump straight into that. But I think there's opportunity here for that for sure. Hello, sunshine happy lady. Thanks for coming on. Okay, let's see. Jake asks, some people live in Miami only in the wintertime and live up north in the summertime. Are you planning to do that? I'm planning to do a version of that, Jake, but actually kind of like the opposite. You know, I would probably stay here in the winter time, but like a lot of people just come here for a few months and then have another house somewhere else for like the majority of the year, like 8 or 9 months. But I would probably do the opposite. I'd probably stay here for like 7, 8 months in Miami and then leave for the hottest months of the year, which generally that's between like June and August. So, June, July, August, September, those are definitely the months I wouldn't want to be here for sure. So if I can pull that off eventually, that's the goal. So yeah, hope to be like a summer bird. Somebody mentioned something like that in the last stream. I can't remember the phrase that they coined, but it was pretty cool. Oh, there's definitely cons to buying right on the water. If you're buying a house on the water, you're going to have to deal with seawall issues, and obviously any potential flooding and hurricane issues is definitely going to be a problem anywhere in Florida. And also, if you buy a condo on the water, usually the maintenance fees are higher because, not to bring this up, but look what happened to the building in Surfside. Basically when a building's on the water, it just needs more maintenance, especially if it's salt water, which most of Florida is, salt water here. And if there are, a lot of elements hitting the building day in and day out, it just deteriorates things faster than if it's not on the water. So the cons are just the higher cost of maintenance and repair, really. Yeah, I think that's a proprietary thing that he has, Jeannie. That's a good question. I think that's something that he built on his own. I would ask him in the comment section. I'm pretty sure he's like building out his own platform, and he's probably going to charge people to use it themselves because I remember him saying that in a recent video. So I think it's all proprietary software that he uses. Yeah, that's a good point, George. Thanks for bringing that up and telling everybody about that. The older you get, the harder it's going to be to keep up on things. So it's something to consider depending on your age and how much maintenance a property could potentially need. So I live in North Beach, Jennifer. I've never lived in South Beach, but obviously I've been there a million times. I sell real estate there. But there's a lot of great buildings here. I can't just recommend one just like off the cuff like that because whenever I've worked with people in the past, I basically just listen to what they want, like a set of features, amenities that people want, and also if they care about being on the beach or their price point, all of those things can influence a building that I would recommend someone here. So I can't just give a definitive answer, but there are plenty of good ones. There's some to stay away from too, but yeah, there's a lot of great buildings here. Yeah, so that's another good point too, Jennifer. Insurance usually is higher because of that, higher risk. So that is something to keep in mind for anybody looking to buy a place on the water. So that's why I put your comment up here so people can understand what I'm replying to. Okay, let's see, Grizzly. They do have some perks. I'm not familiar with all the details, but I know Florida residents can get like a season pass to Disney that costs significantly less. I think all of the parks do it, Universal and whichever other ones we have around here. So you can definitely get a discount on that. And also sometimes we even get discounts on like events that happen, or also like hotel rooms if you're staying in another hotel room but you're a Florida resident. In fact, when Lizzie and I did our road trip around the state of Florida, there was a Florida resident discount for some of the hotels, but not all of them. So there are some perks to being a tourist in your own state here. Hello, Aries from Port Charlotte. How far north do I sell in? I pretty much only work up to about Bell Harbor. That's been typical for me throughout the years. I usually don't go any further north than that. I've done a couple deals in Sunny Isles over the years, but that's already pushing it for me. I just try to stay as local as possible because the traffic here is so terrible, and there's never been any shortage of business right in my area. So there's really been no need for me to, push far outside of my area. So pretty much Bell Harbor's been my limit. Oh, I appreciate that, Jeannie, but probably I'm not seeing any more travel videos in the future. I don't know how many of them I did. I think there might have been like good 40 plus of them. And, it was a great thing to do. It was fun. But at the same time, it wasn't a good business move for YouTube. You can go back and look at those videos. Most of them didn't really perform well. So I'm not sure that that's really going to be the best direction for the channel going forward. But they're there and they're going to live on forever for anybody who wants to see them. And thank you to Tommy for the super chat. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. How does he let me put your super chat up here on the screen? But Tommy says, Michael, I need a good realtor. Happy holidays. You have always been a great content creator. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you too, Tommy. Yes, those are definitely intense. Those maps are very data driven, but he does a great job with it. So I think his content is great, and I hope we can do some kind of partnership in the future. Well, you just answered the question yourself, Jennifer. You really don't know unless you go by at nighttime. So that's why the advice I've given people in the past has been, if you want to move down to anywhere, really, you should come down and stay in an Airbnb in the neighborhood you're interested in. Forget about the hotels, because the hotels are usually they're near the highway. They're all clustered near like the restaurants and stuff. So you're not going to get a feel for the local neighborhood, versus if you stay in an Airbnb somewhere that are interested in moving to, then I think that's going to be much better. And I just realized I forgot to put your comment up on the screen. So sorry about that, guys. Still new to this. Yeah, while I'm looking at the other ones, this is the question I just answered. This is a good question. And I sort of answered this on the last stream, Carl. I think any type of service-based business is definitely a disappointment here in Florida, especially things like handyman services or needing somebody to do any type of repair work whatsoever. If you can start a business along those lines, I think it could immediately do well. You could get customers basically overnight by putting a post on Nextdoor and Craigslist and Facebook or whatever, get the word out a little bit, and before you know it, you would have a pretty big customer base. As long as you just do what you say you're going to do and show up on time, you're beating 90% of the competition. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for that here. So I encourage everybody to look into that type of business if you're going to be starting one down here soon. I think I understand your question, Timeless, that you are looking for a place that would be best if you're in your 30s, right? Like your age group. So I think they're actually both, I think everywhere in between is actually a great area. Miami obviously is going to have the most people population wise, and we have the most younger crowd here, but also People are very flaky here, and probably the little bit further north you move, then maybe you'll be having a better chance at meeting somebody that might be there for the long term. So I don't know if you're looking for like a relationship or just friends, but either way, it would be good to probably have people that are going to stick around. And Miami is very transient. So if you go up to a place like West Palm Beach, for example, it's not going to be quite as transient. South Florida in general is, because a lot of people come down here and in a few years they realize it's not for them. But I would say it's a little less transient than South Florida, but you're also going to have just fewer people to meet. So it's kind of a trade-off there. If you want to meet the maximum number of people, probably closer to Miami and Fort Lauderdale is better. Less people, but a little more stable. Then up towards West Palm is probably better. Now, this is a pretty broad question, Jake. Can't really say that, an exact price point, because this could vary tremendously depending on where you're looking at. But in general, you're going to be looking at probably at least 150 to 175,000 starting price for most 2-bedroom, 2-bathrooms down here in Florida in a decent building in a decent neighborhood. And then obviously the moon is the limit from there. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's see. It's a good question, Ryan. I do think that prices will go down once we see the interest rates go up, but I don't think we're going to see the prices go down by 50% like we did in the last real estate crash, unless there's other factors that come into play, like say the stock market crashes as well. And then also a lot of people are losing their jobs, and then people can't afford their mortgage payments and things like that. And it starts to snowball. Then I think we could definitely see prices go down further. But if nothing else happens and just the interest rates go up and everything else kind of remains the same, I think we might see a small drop in prices in Florida, but not as much as last time. Maybe 10, 15, 20% at the most in some areas. Probably not more than that. That's my estimate. Of course, nobody can guarantee. I could never make a guarantee on that, but that's my gut feeling on it. Hey, good point, Jeannie. Thanks for putting that up there, letting everybody know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that in the future. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I put a lot of effort into a lot of the travel videos, and they really didn't do much. I feel like most people are interested in more like the real estate side of things. And obviously, I have a lot to add to that conversation. Maybe I'll share a travel video here and there in the future. But so far, it really hasn't been worth it. And that's just my honest feedback on that. I would like to do more of them, but also, this last road trip that Lizzie and I did made me realize that I don't like traveling as much as I thought I did, because it's a lot of work traveling, and especially when you're just driving, or even nowadays flying with the plane. Like, so many people have so many horror stories. Lizzie's been telling me about her clients having flights canceled left and right and having to pay extra and, go home and go back to the airport, all this stuff. And I don't know if I'm up for that, but we'll see. I might share more of it in the future here and there, but I don't think it's going to be a central theme going forward. This is a good question, traveling dude. Do you have to have a real estate license in Florida to do deals, or can anybody move there and get into business? That's a two-pronged question. So let me answer that one first. You definitely need to have a real estate license if you want to sell real estate to other people, like meaning you want to take a listing and sell someone's house on their behalf, or you want to work with buyers and show them around and find them the right property. You need to have a real estate license. If you try to do it without it, it's illegal. It's a felony. So you don't want to do that. But you are allowed to sell your own house, obviously, and do your own deals that are, for yourself without a real estate license, just to make that clear. And how often I go swimming at the beach, I try to make it out there once a week at least. So I'm hoping tomorrow is going to be a nice day. Today was supposed to be my beach day, but it ended up not being such a great day for the weather. So I'm hoping for tomorrow. And Merry Christmas to you too, my friend. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Drew, check out my latest video. I just put up the Bitcoin video on Monday. I think you'll find it pretty interesting. It's the most recent video on the channel. Yes. Right now, Tommy, the inventory is tighter than I've ever seen it in this area, and I've done a lot of deals in 33154. I actually love that area a lot. You know, Surfside, Bell Harbor, and Bay Harbor Islands is like one of my favorite spots here. And the inventory is just lower than I've ever seen it. And it's probably for a lot of reasons, you know, like there is probably like one of the best areas to live in all of Miami, in my opinion. And also, that area has like a large Jewish community. And so basically what happens when you have that, like a lot of the Jewish community likes to stick together, and they also have a shul close by, and they walk to the synagogue every Friday night and Saturday or whenever they do it. So being walking distance to the synagogue is like paramount for them, and that's why they you know, those property values there go up so much, and they're just so hard to get one. But keep at it, and I'm sure you'll get one sooner than later. Angel, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. That means so much to me. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, you got that right, Jeannie. You got to just show up and be on time, be professional. That's how I built my whole real estate career, just on those two things, really. Hey, you're welcome, John. I'm glad that you found my videos valuable, man. Thank you. I did a video on this specifically, Willie. Check that out. It's called like the 7 reasons people leave Florida or something like that. I think I did it already like a year ago. Time goes by so fast. I can't believe it's already been that long. But but I think the main reason that people leave is probably a combination of the fact that they miss where they're from, because they usually come down here alone, like I did. And you know, when you come alone, you have nobody to, you're starting from scratch. You have no family, you have no friends, and it can be very difficult to make friends down here because it's so transient and people don't stick around. And also, people are pretty flaky on top of that. So I think that's a big reason. And I think also a lot of people really can't handle the climate because it's a lot hotter here than people realize, especially during the summer. I mean, even, you know, this winter we've been having above average temperatures. I know everybody up north would think it's, you know, awesome. It's great having all these temperatures, but when you live down here full time like I do, it's nice to have a little bit of a break. So luckily tonight it's cooling down, but I think it's really the weather and the people that push people out sooner than they anticipated. Okay, that's a good one. So the answer is yes and no. You can live comfortably in these areas without a car, but not if you need to get around a lot. So if you're looking to, you know, commute on a regular basis or go out and just do things, you're probably going to want to get a car. If you're looking to live a more reclusive lifestyle and just walk to your nearest grocery store or restaurants pretty often and not go beyond that, then you can easily get by without one. You're very welcome, Jody. It's been my pleasure making all these videos. It's been a blast. Oh, that's a tough one. It's hard to answer your question because I'm not sure, you know, what you would be looking for in these towns. But just based on, you know, the ones that I like the most, it would be easily Juno Beach, but that's also the most expensive one. So that's something to keep in mind too. Is the budget, obviously. Hey, thank you so much for that, Jennifer. That's a good question, Aries. I'm not really sure. I don't really pay attention to the real estate market where I'm from that much. A couple years ago, I was looking to buy a house there. And one thing I can actually talk about now that you asked me that is I decided not to buy it because it would be for investment. And there was one reason I mainly am not interested because you can actually get decent cash flow on a property up there. But my concern is future appreciation. You can see houses up there where I used to live that are selling for similar prices that they were 20 years ago. And so that means the area doesn't have a lot of growth or future upside. And my concern with buying a house there would be that the cost of the home keeps rising, with maintenance and upkeep, property taxes. Now we have inflation adding to that. So the cost to hold the property goes up, but the actual amount that you can generate in revenue from it kind of remains the same or doesn't go up as fast. And then on top of that, when you go to sell the property, you just probably won't make any money. And if you do, it might not be a lot. So I've kind of shied away from investing near my hometown mainly for that reason. I think it's a great place to live if you're looking to buy a house, and buy a decent house that's not expensive to live in. But for investment, probably not. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to answer this one, Jose. From West Palm Beach South, what locations offer affordable three-bed condominiums near the beach? So anywhere near the beach is going to be expensive, really. If you want to have, affordability being the main factor, I'd be looking at places that are at least like 4 or 5 blocks away from the beach because you'd be surprised at how much you could save by just looking that far off the beach. It can make a big difference as long as it's also not a different type of waterfront property. It's not on the bay or the intracoastal because that still commands a lot too. So I would be looking a little more inland but close to the beach if you want affordable but close to the beach. I appreciate that, Michael. I wish more people did, but I can't make people watch the videos. And as somebody that's doing YouTube, especially like this is like my main gig now, I just have to follow the demand essentially. So that's kind of the unfortunate side of YouTube is you have to kind of go where the biggest crowd is, so to speak. But I know there are a handful of people that enjoy them. So it's nice to hear you're one of them. Thank you. This depends, Michael. Are you looking to live there? Are you looking to play golf all day? Do you care about red tide? Those are the first things that come to my mind. I agree, George. This is one reason I mentioned in my last live stream that Lizzie and I are looking at buying our own place coming in 2022 because the rents are definitely coming up to the cost of what it will be to own in a lot of areas. So, very good point. You should definitely do that, Jennifer. That's the best advice I can give anybody looking for a new home. Oh, good. I'm glad you found it, Drew. That's awesome. Check it out, man. Let me know what you think. After the live stream, of course. Don't leave. Okay, that's a good one, Jennifer. Not really, unfortunately. The starting price point for an actual single family house around here now is really around 500,000. Like occasionally you might find something in the 400s, but even in that price range and the 500,000 range are usually places that need full renovations. And just a few years ago, that wasn't the case, like 3, 4 years ago, you could get a house still in that price range, but not anymore, unfortunately. That just goes to show you how much things have gone up in the past few years. That's a good question, Artem. My best stab at it would be that it's just very underdeveloped still. It's not a very high demand area, at least not yet. It's becoming so because it's so affordable. But it's not so much that it's a bad area. It's just that it's not very desirable because there's not that much nearby. So part of it being so cheap is the fact that people move there for retirement And that's kind of like the scene that's been there for a long time, but now people are eyeballing it because of its affordability and just looking to commute to like Naples or wherever they decide to work. So, the area is underdeveloped, but if it catches up with development, it's not going to be that cheap anymore. Aries, thank you so much for the super chat. You're very welcome. Merry Christmas to you too, my friend. I'm wishing you all the best holiday season you could ever have. Of course, be safe, but you know, we have to do our best to enjoy it despite the situation. So, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it so much. You can actually get a real estate license within a weekend if you want to. You just got to be basically smart enough to pass the class test because you'll have to pass a test either online or in the classroom. So you can do it that fast. But after that, then you need to take the test for the state as well. So there are like weekend crash courses you can do to actually get your real estate license here in a weekend in Florida, which to me is kind of a joke. It should be definitely harder than that. There should be more of a vetting process, but it is what it is. So that's the fastest way if you can pull it off. Yeah, well, Jennifer, I'm planning on doing at least two of these streams a month coming up in 2022 because I really enjoy them. I did the first one last week and I liked it so much that I'm just jumping on again this week. I'll probably take the rest of the year off, so no stream next week, but definitely the first week of 2022. And I also don't want you guys to get tired of it either. If I do one every week, then I feel like maybe people will get bored of it. So maybe twice a month would be the best schedule with the lives, but let me know. Let me know in the chat. I want to hear your guys' opinion. That's why we're all here hanging out. You're very welcome, Angel. It's been my pleasure. Merry Christmas to you too, Rita. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good one, Jeannie. Honestly, my answer is so simple to that, and it's really just the cooler weather and the beach is my favorite thing about Miami during the holidays. It's not the most festive place, just because being from up north and not having any snow on the ground or anything like that makes it not feel like Christmas. But they definitely do some nice lighting displays around the area. Like last year, I think I put up a video showing like the different lighting displays that I saw around here. So they do a pretty good job of trying to make it festive. But at the end of the day, when it's 80 degrees and there's palm trees, it doesn't feel as much like Christmas being from Illinois. Um, our biggest tradition for Lizzie and I is I like to make a nice dinner on Christmas Eve because Lizzie is Brazilian, and in Brazil they celebrate Christmas the night before. Usually, like at midnight, everybody opens the presents. They make a nice feast the night before. So usually, I'll make a nice dinner on Christmas Eve, and then we'll spend some time opening up some presents like around midnight or something. Sometimes we'll do like a FaceTime with family and just do it together to try and pretend like we're all in the same room. And at least thanks to technology, we can actually do that, right? Because when I first moved here, there was no FaceTimes, and that just wasn't possible. So it's cool that we can do that now. I've definitely done some videos on this topic too, e-ticket. Check them out. I think I even have a playlist on the channel about California versus Florida. Check it out. Hello, John. Nice to see you here. And that's a good point about Miami Beach. I put up your comment on purpose so people interested in the area can know more about it. And you live in South Beach, so you're better to talk about it than me. I wish I could help you with your question here, Saul, but it's just way too specific. I don't know this area well enough to give you a good answer on it. But that's why I'm doing these streams because people ask me things all the time. They make video requests. They ask me questions in the comments, and I think that this format is really the best way to just get it out there. If I have a good answer for you, I'll give it to you. And rather than trying to make a whole full feature video on a specific thing, then I can just answer your questions, and we can all have a good time hanging out here. You're very welcome, Aries. It's been my pleasure answering your questions. You have a Merry Christmas too. Thank you so much. Uh, I really don't think your first year in real estate is a realistic goal of 60K. Probably not. I mean, it's possible, but realistic? Probably not. Real estate's all built on connections. So the more people you know and the more people that trust you, then the more deals you're going to get. But that's the hard part being a newbie, right? Like if you just got your license, you really don't know how to do deals yet. You don't even know how to write a contract. There's a lot of things you don't know, and people are trusting you with the biggest investment they've ever made. So that's the hardest thing, is gaining people's trust from the beginning. So if you want to get the best jumpstart you can do two things. You can start with an office that will give you leads or training or both, and that will give you a little bit of a jumpstart. But ultimately, I think the best thing is like networking and like meeting people. And that's part of the reason that, real estate kind of really wasn't for me over the years, is you just have to get out a lot and, always be telling people I'm a real estate agent, and, trying to make sure they're going to call you. But that's your best shot, really, is the more people you get to know, the more shots you have at, you know, getting clients. That's a good one. um, I would say it doesn't matter really, because, I don't even wanna bring up the D word, but if it happens, then, you're probably gonna be in trouble anyways. But if you're buying the house yourself, right, and you're getting married in the future, and you wanna make sure that your future spouse can't, like, take your house away from you, then maybe a prenup's a good idea. Just saying. Oh, I'm glad you said that, Aries. I'm glad you said that you're in Port Charlotte, because people were just asking about it being a bad area. Obviously, it's not. It's just like one of those South Florida hidden gems. It just hasn't really been turned into a metropolis yet, like Miami or Naples or Clearwater or whatever. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. My main thought on this, Willie, is the fact that up there it is just less crowded and a little bit more affordable. So if that's something you're into and you have the wallet for Juno Beach, that would be my pick out of all of them if you can afford it. But I think the only advantage that Miami Beach has over all of these places is the walkability. Like it's kind of like a miniature New York City here. You could easily get by living here without having a car, and just take the occasional bus ride north or south to South Beach or Aventura Mall or whatever. But the walkability here is basically second to none. Not really. Not really. Um, the thing is, like, I'm just over that. I don't want to deal with the winters anymore, especially with how long the winters last. So, yeah, probably not. That's my main issue with living up there. I just don't want to deal with the long, cold winters. It's depressing for me. Can't get outside and get as much sunshine. But I do like more of a middle ground. I don't like super hot. I don't like super cold. I like, low 70s. That's my type of weather. Hello, Carson. Thanks for joining all the way from Germany. I'm sad to hear that you guys are going to have another lockdown, man. That's so sad. I did hear that from another client of mine as well who lives there now. Oh, thank you so much, Jeannie. That's so nice of you. But only my biggest fans like you would say that, actually. Thank you very much, Grandma. My grandma's on the stream. Merry Christmas to you too. Yes, Angel, I did answer this a little bit earlier on the stream, so whenever we finish, you can go back and check out the replay. Yeah, I pretty much feel like you, Jennifer. I'm just kind of over the freezing cold. I like cool weather, but there's a big distinction between cool and cold. You know, cool to me is like 40s, 50s, 60s. That's cool. I can handle that. But cold is 20s and below zero and all of that, which is pretty common this time of year in Illinois. And that's just too cold for me. I'll take that as a compliment, Bob. Not sure what you mean by that, but I'll take it. Um, what are you referring to here, Mike? Let me know and maybe I can give you a better answer. Yeah, exactly. And tonight's going to be like the first like cooler night that we're going to have in a while, so I'm looking forward to getting on the boardwalk and going for a nice walk. It's supposed to be down in like the mid 60s, so I love that. That's like perfect for me. I wish every night was like that here, but fortunately we're not that lucky. You're very welcome, Jody. I love hearing comments like that. And honestly, guys, it just makes me feel happy that um, people like Jody are being helped by the channel because that's like the number one goal is I just want to keep creating content that's helpful for you guys. And I think that this live stream is a way to add to that. So I'm very happy to do it. I could never help this many people, especially like per week or on a monthly basis, just doing real estate alone. You know, you're doing like a few deals a month, so you're helping a few people, right? But on YouTube, I can help thousands of people a month, which is awesome. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you too, Jose. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're getting some value from this stream and my channel. Yeah, Lizzie and I met on the beach 14 years ago, right here in Miami Beach. And she is Brazilian. Although I'm not making a Brazilian dinner. This year it's just going to be a little bit of ham, a little bit of mashed potatoes with some green onions, some, what else am I going to put in there? Some sour cream, some butter, some bacon, kind of go all out with those mashed potatoes, some wine. Keep it pretty simple. In the past, we would do lobster a lot of years. So I don't know how to cook any Brazilian dishes. Let's see. What is your favorite town north of Miami? I can get a 3-bedroom house for 200,000. That's what I'm looking for. I think you should be checking out the Melbourne area, Jennifer. That area up there is not bad. There are some sketchy areas you need to watch out for, but you'll get the feel of that when you go to the area. But you can still find houses in this price range, and the beaches there are nice. They have some decent restaurants. It's still like an up and coming area, but I'd be looking up that way near Melbourne. Yes, I mentioned this earlier in the stream, Tim. Come down here with your awesome handyman services. It is much needed in all of Florida. Oh, that's so nice of your husband, Jeannie. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, you know, it's nice to change it up. You know, my whole childhood, we opened up presents and stuff on Christmas morning. And, you know, once I met Lizzie and she said they do it the night before, I'm like, okay, let's try something different. You know, it's nice to change it up. I love having a Brazilian woman. It's nice to have somebody that is comes from a different background than you, and you can share the best of both worlds. Really, I was thinking about making a video on this, John, but I just think the topic is so dumb. But yeah, it's kind of a thing. But I think the news really makes it a thing, right? Because we have the Florida man thing, and they just talk about all the crazy things that happen down here. But look how many crazy things happen everywhere across the entire world, right? So it's like, yeah, we have Florida man stories, but I'll bet you all the people up north making fun of us have their own Illinois man stories and Connecticut man stories and stuff like that too. So no, Lizzie didn't teach me that, but she did teach me how to make rice and beans. But I still only know how to make the rice. Hey, thank you so much, Brandon. Brandon's my childhood friend. Thanks for joining. It's good to see you on here, man. Merry Christmas. Ouch. That is high. Very high. Yeah, I see a little bit of this coming in the future. In fact, I just recorded a video today pertaining to this subject, Jennifer. So, anybody who's seeing what Jennifer put on the screen here, be sure to check out my video tomorrow that's coming out because it's kind of in direct relation to whatever she just said. But I think it could be a positive thing coming up for the housing market here in 2022 for the general public, not for everybody. Obviously, when your property taxes are doubling, that's not a good thing, but you'll see what I mean if you watch the video. Well, we made a video about why we're not married, so if you're curious about checking that out, you can go back on the channel and see it. But it's not that I don't want to marry her, it's just that she doesn't want me to marry her. If she wanted me to, I would do it in a second. That's an interesting one. I don't know. Maybe, like if I got offered the right opportunity and it didn't interfere with me, doing the YouTube channel, I might take a few jobs here and there. I don't see why not. I definitely wouldn't hunt them down like I did in the beginning, and like hustle for them. If they just came to me and it felt like a good opportunity, I might do some of those modeling jobs. Probably not, Bob. Probably not. Yes, I know exactly what you mean by that, Roxanne, especially spending a good chunk of my summer in California. And you can even see that reflected in their policies there as well. So I think Florida is definitely different in that regard. People are way more keeping to themselves. And since we do like freedom here so much, no one's going to be uh, challenging what you want to do. So I think that's a great advantage that we have here in Florida that they might not have as much in a lot of places in California. This is an easy one. Just get out there. Get out there, shake hands, always be meeting new people, always be giving your business card all the time. The more people you meet, the more clients you will get. Merry Christmas to you too, Colette. Thank you so much. And thanks, George, for saying Merry Christmas to my grandma. Hey, Rob. Rob is actually one of Lizzie's dog clients. The name of his dog is Gumbo, and Gumbo is definitely a very chill dog. She is like different than a lot of the other dogs because she doesn't really bark, she doesn't cause any trouble, but she's super sweet. She'll always want to cuddle with you, and she's just like a very sweet dog. So that's definitely my relationship with her, Rob, and she loves me too. Um, that's a good one. I think right now it's going to be very tough just from the fact that with the supply chain issues and the rising cost of materials, it's going to be harder to buy a house. And also, the cost of land, all real estate is up. So, I would weigh out the cost of what it might be to do something like this before doing it because you're also, you're going to be signing up for a lot of work there, Karsten. So make sure you look into all the details and run the numbers to see if it's going to be a good fit to build the house. Yeah, I don't remember where the sketchy areas are in Melbourne because I've only been there twice. Um, but there are definitely nice areas too, and you'll know when you drive around. So it's just easy to tell just by looking at things. So, but I can't remember certain streets or blocks or anything like that, unfortunately. Thank you, traveling dude. Appreciate it, man. Well, the prices are alive and well, Willie. Things took a very temporary hit for like a month, and it went right back up, especially with the mania here of so many people moving down to this area. It didn't really affect the market very much at all. Just very little in the short term. But after that first month or two, it's been no big deal. Really, hasn't affected the sale prices or the amount of sales at all. Yeah, I know, Jeannie. I know. We'll see. Maybe one day. I don't know. But we're definitely happy like this, so no rush. Yeah, that's a good question, Willie. Property taxes here are pretty expensive, not just in Miami Beach, but in Miami-Dade in general. Miami-Dade has the highest property tax rate in all of Florida, unfortunately. And then, of course, the city adds their little portion of the tax as well. But at least you have your homestead exemption here in Florida, so you can actually use that to your advantage to pay a little bit less. But if you buy an investment property, that's where you're going to get hit the most. Yeah, we'll see about that, Colette. Yeah, I know she loves me, Rob. I know. I love her too. Well, there's no more questions here, guys, and I'm trying to keep these streams about an hour long, and we've already hit that mark. So I'm happy that I could answer everybody's questions here. And thank you for everybody who sent me the super chat. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on another live coming up in 2022. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas or any other type of holiday that you guys celebrate. And I'm not going to be going away with the videos, so you'll still have videos coming from me before the new year. Just no more lives till next year. So I'll be signing off. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I love all you guys. Thank you so much for being fans of the channel and being here today. And I'll be seeing you in tomorrow's video. Take care.